Hey everyone, this is Angela at Bake It with Love, and today, if I'm not going to be baking, I want to be doing something like this. This is our lobster risotto. It's a Hell's Kitchen copycat recipe, and if you don't make this, you're just totally missing out. Anyway, we're going to start out with some olive oil and white onion. Shallots are normally used in the Hell's Kitchen version, and I do recommend those. They are more mild taste. But if you don't have those and you didn't get your hands on any and you want to make this, use the onion. Add a bit of garlic, and you're going to sweat those for just like a minute, and then add your arborio rice, which is also easy to get at your local store. There are a couple other types of rice that you can use that will work in the risotto, but arborio rice is easier to find. Even Walmart has it. So use that, and we're going to add a little bit of a dry white wine. There we go. And we're going to cook that off for about another minute, and then we'll start adding our stock. And if you don't have like some lobster stock on hand, we made some. This recipe has a quick version, and then there's another, and I'll link to it. There's another video that we have with normal lobster stock, the longer process. It's the one that I usually use because when we did this batch of our fresh seafood, we did a couple recipes with the lobster that we got, including a lobster chowder. So I needed more stock than just what I'm going to use here in this lobster risotto, which does take about 3 to 4 cups. I think this day we used 4 cups of our lobster stock. So we've got it. You add about a third to about half of the lobster stock, enough to cover your rice, but not so it's swimming in it. And you're going to cook that. We're on a medium heat here, and you can see it's just cooking away here, and this is kind of a long process. If you've seen it on like Hell's Kitchen, obviously they've got pre-cooked rice. It's not quite done, but it's way closer than starting with raw kernels. So, and we're just going to fast motion through the whole process, so you're seeing every bit of it here. And you can see we're ladling in. Well, my husband's at the reins today. He's got the spatula, but he's adding in ladlefuls of the lobster stock. He added our lemon zest right there. I like to add it in early so that the lemon zest isn't too fresh when you go to add your mascarpone and butter at the end for the finishing touches. You want that flavor to be pretty subtle because your lobster is so good. Now we're showing the whole process so you can see obviously the way that we're slowly ladling in the lobster stock. You can kind of see a corner of it there in the video. We're also trying to show the way that when he's cooking it and he kind of scrapes the bottom of the pan, he's looking to see how quickly it fills back in with the liquid and the rice. That's how he is judging when he's going to add another ladleful of the lobster stock. So when you see him doing that, he's checking to see in between like a little simmering period after he adds the stock, and then he scrapes it when it looks like it's simmered off. So, and we'll see that a lot because like I said, it's like 20 minutes on fast motion here. And you're watching the process here, and whether or not you're a fan of Hell's Kitchen, anytime that you're at a restaurant that offers risotto, you can see why it's such a fantastic dish and it's worth the wait. I appreciate, when I'm watching the show, I totally appreciate how long the lobster risotto would normally take. And we're lucky enough this time around that we ordered some fresh live lobster with our seafood order, but at the grocery store when you see the lobster tails that are frozen, those work equally as well. Obviously fresh is always better, but anytime that all the time for us, we always want this, but when you do get around to making it, you don't have to have fresh lobster. And you can make the lobster stock with your frozen lobster tails. That works too. Our first batch was made that way that we did for the website. This is from our fresh lobsters that we made this lobster stock. We used 2 whole lobsters in that version, in that recipe, in the related video that you'll see below. And it works beautifully. We had more than enough. I think I ended up with 6 cups of lobster stock, and I used 4 here and then 2 for our chowder. Anyway, back to the lobster risotto. You can see we're still adding the stock and letting it reduce down as that rice absorbs more of the stock. What we're looking for as we get close to the end here, and we're not quite there, but as we get close to the end of this process, we're looking for the kernels to get slightly translucent, and you'll still see a white core. And I know at some point here he'll pull a few kernels out and bring them a little bit closer to the camera so you can look at it. When you taste it, it's also, it's a visual component and then tasting it, because it should be a really al dente rice kernel when it's ready for the final steps of adding the butter, mascarpone, parmesan, and all that good stuff. But we're nowhere near there yet. Now we're about a little over halfway in the cooking process. What you'll also see here, if you look closely at the broth that's in the pan, it goes in clear, but the stuff that's around the rice kernels is not quite as clear. It has a bit of the starch from the arborio rice. And that's also part of what you're looking for before you add more of the broth. And also it shows you, it indicates how cooked the rice is. It says the more starchy the sauce and the lobster stock around the rice is, the more cooked the rice kernels are, and the closer you're getting to being done. But truly, it will take about 20 minutes when you add the rice. That's, right on par with how long it takes to do the rice. So, as you can see, he's switching it back and forth again some more here. He will be judging it. I think he tasted a few kernels right there. So, and it's not there. So he's going to keep going. Oh, here we go. You can see they're pretty white still, but there's a translucent edge around them. So we want to get a little bit more translucent edge around the core of the rice kernel. But as it's getting close, we're going to go ahead and start adding a couple pats of butter, a couple tablespoons. The rice is going to continue to cook in this part. It's still on medium heat, and we're going to start incorporating some of the ingredients. There's another pat of butter. You're just going to work that in and let it melt while the rice is still cooking. You don't need to add any more stock at this point because it's going to take in that butter and give it a nice sheen. And there's our cream cheese. You would use mascarpone. That's preferable in the recipe, but we have cream cheese on hand, so that's what we used. But for true version of the Hell's Kitchen, it's mascarpone that they use. It's still super creamy either way. And if you end up getting your risotto a little bit too dry, because there's some Parmesan, if you watch the show, he can, like when it's not right, he'll smack the plate against the countertop and the risotto will spread. It's not too gluey. If you get it too dry, add a little bit more butter or a little bit more stock. It's really easy to adjust even at the end here. We've added our lobster and a little bit more butter because the butter really makes it shiny on top of the creamy texture. It's just beautiful with the right amount of butter in there. If yours doesn't look like this yet, keep adding a little bit of butter, like a tablespoon at a time. And there's our risotto being plated. That's a healthy double portion. And as you'll see, well, not tap so much, just give it a little shake. You'll see that the risotto is really liquidy. It's not gluey, which is what you don't want. Because by the time you go to eat this, it's going to firm up a little bit. So top it with some more Parmesan, chives, whatever you like to add on top. And then you'll see in the final photo what it actually texture-wise looks like when you're eating it. Anyway, I hope you love the video and definitely love the recipe. Let us know if you like the video by giving it a thumbs up. Make a comment. If you make it, be sure to let us know how it turned out. Thanks for watching.